Oh man, I'm back. Honestly, the last 5 years have been phenomenal. And for me, being able to travel, being able to meet new people, being able to see communities grow has been really gratifying. And I thought, what better way than, 2026 just start off right. But for me, it's about the honesty and transparency. And this was something I missed doing. I missed talking to you. I missed the conversations. I missed the genuineness. I missed the questions. I miss it all. And you know what? I could say from over 200 plus episodes that I did, each person I learned something from. Just like every event I've been to in the last 5 plus years, I've learned a lot because what I tell people is that what I love to do when I go places, especially when I'm working, before I even take out my camera, I just love to watch. I love to survey the dance floor and just enjoy people's energy because you can do a lot more watching, doing things on the fly. Don't get me wrong, doing things on the fly is fun at times, but having a plan and especially these last 5 years filming through COVID, and just the different events that I've been to, one thing I can say is New York. Give yourselves a round of applause because me being in New York, especially realizing for so many years, salsa was dominant. Listen, I am a product of that, I feel. I started in the late 90s in this, in the salsa world in New York, growing up as a kid, traveling, transitioning to training in different teams, then saying, wow, there's one trip I take to Dominican Republic to perform, I bring this camera. And not realizing that this camera was going to take me so far and allow me to meet people that I thought I would never meet in my life, but also inspire people while they are inspiring me. Because I have met, if not hundreds, thousands of people over these past 2.5 decades, and realizing I started in 96. It is now 2026. That is 30 years about of my life. Yeah, started like September 96. And September officially makes 30 years that I've been in this world. And don't get me wrong, I've had to do a lot of sacrificing, dancing as a youth, as a teenager. The friends who weren't dancers, I didn't get to go to parties with. The late rehearsals while still doing the homework. The annual trips to Texas performing in the Bronx and Queens and Sweet 16s and bar mitzvahs, like living a life of, you're going to school, but you're practicing and you're traveling on the weekends. And sometimes that goes into the school days, and then your school would call and then have to tell you, like, you can't keep missing days. Yeah, I was traveling. It was a lot. And I've gained so many experiences, but to go from the dancing into the filming has been a not even a 180. I just think it blended right in because I then understood more of what it meant of, being the person being filmed is one thing like we're doing right now. But being the person filming someone, I think takes a whole different responsibility, in my opinion. For me, I started filming because I would go places, and these are the same places that you perform, or they ask you to perform, but you still got to pay, and totally understand. But to go to events over the years and see different people who are just attendees paying 250 close to $500 and for all the passes and hotels and everything included, probably even more. And realizing having to listen to a lot of people that have never met each other say the same thing of, man, I couldn't even get a photo or a video. And the thing is this, it's not a knock on media, because I also understand, because I am media now. But I also said in those moments, man, I wish I could do something about that. And going to DR, doing bachata, that's why I would say is one of my first videos I did at pool parties. And, I just love that people felt comfortable in front of the camera in front of me. In 2016, I went 2015 and 2016. Shout out to Gifted Souls NYC. Um, but to go from that time and realizing now, no, man, June. Yeah, June is when I filmed Bakshatu, I think. June. It's one of those. May, June, July, August. It's the summertime. Almost really like 30 years of my life has really been dedicated to the dance world in some form of fashion. And one thing I can say is now investing in myself and understanding the power of the camera and realizing that I feel like I hold a responsibility that to help others along the way, to give advice just like others gave advice to me. And one thing I can hope is always make sure that you are clear with your intentions, whatever you do in life. Sometimes you'll be hesitant. Some decisions are impulsive, some are more calculated. But realizing as you're getting older is making sure that you are intentionally doing things that are going to empower yourself for the better. Because listen, I know many of us love helping others, but we can't help others before we help ourselves. That's my opinion. And for me, with my platform over the years, being able to film at a lot of events in New York, one thing I could say is, again, I'm giving a clap to New York because I remember, and we remember those times when salsa was dominant, like I said earlier, of like, you didn't hear bachata. So for me to be a youth growing up in salsa and then seeing in New York specifically the slow growth of bachata and so many people along the way that have paved that way, there have been so many. But one person in particular that I'm always, no matter what in life, I am going to shout out is Mikey G. Mikey G single handedly was in New York, was like the first person to really give me a shot and believe in me. And one thing is, I will always thank him, no matter what. There was three people specifically. Mikey G out of New York. When we had Pura Vida. I did that training team, and Coronel was my teacher. Remember those times. Thank you, Coronel. Another person I have to thank. And the other person was Mikey G, Brandon Contreras, my brother, one of my son's godfathers. Brandon out there in Rhode Island and Providence. You, my brother, were the first person to hire me right when I came from Bachatu. You told me, you said, I'm bringing you to Rhode Island some way. And you did. I remember those nights in your house, us just talking, you giving me words of encouragement, feedback. and me just like literally being just thankful that someone saw something in me and said, "Hey, I want your art to be shared, and I want people to know about it in my town." And listen, there's dancers from all over the world. Oh, let me not forget, last but not least, George Elizondo, Papa George. You brought me to Dallas, and we met at the New Jersey Bachata Festival. Mikey G did with others, and Vladi and everybody in between. Shout out to Vladi. Vladi Aragon, Viva la Bachata, and Immersive, and that whole team. I remember the earlier days when we go to Rhode Island. I remember those days and the days in Jersey, and and I'm just stating names because like it's just going through my mind like how I really started in this. So I would say it's like 2016, I could say, because bachata in New York was definitely before that dancing wise. But I would say my full like kind of immersion into it was about 2016 because I was dancing salsa going to really a bachata event in DR, and then like, whoa, what is this? This is interesting. And guess who else I met there? 2016, someone with a fedora ponytail from the DC area, the one and only Ace Fusion. Ace, you see how our worlds collided over these years? How we came together from 2016, then fast forward to 2023, around that time, I would say, when we really started working. And listen, um, so yeah, Mikey G, Brandon Contreras, George Elizondo, those three. And there's so many more people I'm just naming, but those three specific really helped me start. And the amount of media people I've worked with over the years, collaborated with, um, man, I've learned each something from each of them. But also dancers, because going back from my dancing days, when transitioning to film, I was kind of seamless because I didn't really have to get to know a lot of the people because I knew them already. Instead of dancing alongside them, I was the one filming them. And that carried a different responsibility because my respect for the art form. There wasn't the fairy tale of me going into a dance class and loving it. No, I was young, chubby, did not want to dance, did not want to do any of this. This was an outlet that my grandmother said, hey, you might not know the language that well, but you're damn sure is going to understand some type of history. Besides going to Puerto Rico every year, every 2, 3 times a year, which I appreciate so much. But to put me in an art form that then gave me more history into it. And don't get me wrong, people don't get the 90s, 2000s, 2010, early 20, like late 20, late 2000s, and a dance school in the Bronx. People know it was interesting. It was interesante. But I learned. I learned what work ethic really looked like when I was early. I was grateful enough to understand the position I held of, I'm dancing alongside someone I grew up with, and we're gonna kill this, but we're looking at each other saying who's gonna show more. I was the chubby kid going into classes being made fun of at times, trying to find a way to find a one up. So my one up was I was gonna dance harder than you. I was going to outshine you. And for those who know, I was in a situation there in this dance school where someone held me back from being seen. A teacher of mine said, hey, I don't like you. You're going to the back. Something about it. You just don't look the part. So imagine that person being your teacher for 4 to 5 years. It weighs on you. So what I said was, hey, I got to flip the script. So I started really going in when I'm dancing. So many people are like, man, you're just your energy. Where's it come from? It just comes from a place of like, I had to do what I had to do on the dance floor and performances with 10 couples. Like, even they put me in the corner in the back, I'm going to be seen. Some form of, wait, somebody's going to say the big kid can dance. Why is he not in the front? And that translated into, then being a part of a group at the school, then fast forwarding, then doing my own group with my two other guys, and after that transitioning to teaching, and then transitioning to training, and it really has manifested itself beautifully because in some form of, like I said earlier, was 30 years, man. Like people don't understand that. I'm not telling you that I went to LaGuardia, which I only missed because the audition I missed was because I had a dance rehearsal on a Saturday, like a Friday or Saturday, super early for something. I think it was like a big event, and I missed it. I missed playing baseball in high school in Castle Hill Little League because I had a performance. And after a while, I was like, I keep performing so much, I'm not dedicating to baseball, and that's one thing I wish I could have kept doing. But something about dance called me, and now it's 2026, and I'm being able to travel the world because of my love and my passion for filming. And for me, I don't want people to ever stop creating. Never stop creating. Whether you're a content creator, whether you're a dancer, an entrepreneur, what have it, don't stop creating. And for me now, this new year, it's, with filming, it's my overall focus is, especially in my city, when I film, I want that novice, that beginner, to be able to see their progressions. And that means me filming you at different events intentionally because I want to see how you see yourself, but also seeing the growth and progression within yourself and how much more comfortable you see or how you look. And being able to go to places like Dominican Republic because of people like Ace Fusion, I'm forever thankful because I got to go to a world and not just the fancy resorts. Got to meet the people. I got to be like in the same spaces as normal people. Like it's crazy too. Going to DR, I feel so much more love. I'm a Puerto Rican who was also mixed, biracial, was not that good at Spanish, but in DR somehow I just stayed. And it was one thing someone told me in DR was like, I think with my boy Izzy. Shout out to you, Izzy. He said, Diamond, something like you have a glow. And I was like, what does that mean? He was like, I know you're not Dominican, but you just have a certain glow to you that makes you look like you're from the island. And I didn't believe him, but I remember we went to places like Carandales and Bonao and Zona Colonial. And you see how my Spanish is getting a little better? And these people are talking to me like I'm from here, asking me questions, and I can understand a lot more than I can speak it. But then when they realize that I'm not even Dominican, I'm a lot. um, uh, and I just told them I just love this place. And one of my proudest moments ever in life was going to an orphanage in DR on one of my trips. And that trip will always stay with me because that is a real understanding of humanity. To see children just wanting to be cared for and loved for from someone they never met, and me being able to film those encounters, nothing beats that. And for me, it's like, hey, in 2026, my intention is clear. I just want to help people shine because, like my boy Jerry Zeno says, if Diamond shot it, you know it's gonna shine. So hey, join the ride with me. This is just my first episode. Get ready for more. And honestly, you never know who's gonna show up on this podcast. All right, I'll talk to you later. Peace.